Hi guys, I want to talk to you today about government benefits, health care, and things like food stamps and welfare and all of that good stuff. Uh, I'll tell you a little story before I get into it. I went to this website called govbenefits.com, and they have this online screening process, and all you do is you enter in your personal information and it'll tell you all the government benefits that you qualify for. So anyway, I did it just for fun to see what the government would provide for my family. Now, a little background on my family: we make between 55,000 and 60,000 a year, which is pretty mediocre good for Texas. We could make more money in New York or California if you could even find a job right now. Um, but anyhow, it's a medium income. We live in a upper middle class neighborhood, and we do fine for ourselves. Anyway, I fill out this application. We also have 5 children. Let me include that. I filled in this application, and it said that my family qualifies for $750 a month in food stamps. I mean, it completely took me by shock. How could we possibly qualify for $750 a month in food stamps? So anyway, I did the application again, and sure enough, the same results came back. And the only thing they factored in was how much money do you have in the bank, how much money do you make, and what's your car worth. They never checked out how much equity you have in your home or anything like that. So I was completely shocked when I saw this figure come back to us. So it kind of got the wheels turning with this healthcare thing that just passed. And as you've seen from my previous videos, since I only kept catastrophic insurance, which means just hospitals paid for my family, and we'd pay cash for a doctor, that's not good enough for the government, so we're going to have to go take on a $1,200 policy a month. And my claim was, well, if I quit working 2 days a week, then we would get Medicaid, because it would be the same amount of money to my family anyway, but with Medicaid, at least we wouldn't have to work those 2 days a week, and we'd pretty much break even rather than paying for the cost of insurance. So I went a little bit further this time, and I was like, well, let's see. $750 a month at the current rate, well, how much would it equate to if I just took on the Medicaid? And it went to up to $856 a month. And I found that quite amazing, so I took it one step further and I said, well, what would happen if I just went ahead and I worked 2 days a week? Well, then we started qualifying for more things like welfare, which would easily match the price of our mortgage. And basically, so I just took it one step further, and I was like, let's just try 1 day a week. If I went to work 1 day a week, what would happen to my life? So I did the math, all the math, even for emergency savings, everything, all of my bills and everything. And I found that if I went to work 1 day a week, not only would I get a free cellular phone from the government, from SafeLink Wireless, I would get 100% of my electric bill paid. I'd get welfare, which combined with the price or the money that I'd make for that 1 day could easily pay for all the savings and extra things that my family needs because we're very conservative. My mortgage and every bit of insurance and every bit of taxation, property taxes here in Texas would be paid for my house. So with 1 day of work per week, and on top of that, food stamp money, I was quite amazed. We wouldn't even have to basically do anything, and we could survive like we are right now. So anyway, I said, well, I don't know. I'd go crazy at 1 day a week. So let me push that figure back up to 2.5 days a week. So at 2.5 days a week, the money came out. I did all the math, all the benefits. We'd still be on Medicaid. We'd get a small welfare check, and we'd get about, I think it was $1,158 a month. It was either that or $1,159. But anyway, that's what the figures came out to be in food stamps. So without having to spend the money on my family's food, because obviously it'd be covered with that much money in food stamps, and the fact that Texas and many other states, probably your state, doesn't even look at the equity value of your home. They don't even check very in detail, without any detail, the value of your car. They don't look at your assets or what you own. I decided I would see what we could afford to do. 2.5 days a week, I'll show you what we would buy. I hope you can see that. That is a 55-foot sailing yacht. And I'll tell you what, being so close to the Gulf of Mexico, we could easily just work 2.5 days a week and go out to the Caribbean. We could just sail around, go get some cervezas out in Mexico and some fajitas. You know, come on back, drive on back, and go back to our 2.5 days of work. I mean, I'm stunned, and the figures really worked out to that. A sailing yacht. I could take my wife and my 5 children out in the Gulf of Mexico, and we could find a good destination to go to and just sit and take it easy. And especially me being self-employed, that would mean I could work for, 1.5 weeks per month, and we could cruise all around the Caribbean. We could go see Grand Cayman. Why not? We could just sail on over there. And the whole time we were on our luxurious sailing yacht that cost $80,000, which would have an $800 payment a month. The dock fee out in the Gulf, I checked, I called the place, and they said $200 a month to stock and put it in their docks. And there's a $50 maintenance fee, and they come around and kind of take care of your ship while you're not there. If I worked 1.5 weeks per month, we could spend the whole rest of the time sailing this yacht all over the place. And the entire time, we would be eating food provided by you and buying that ship with the money we save from food. This is a 55-foot sailing yacht bought on food stamp money. That's government entitlements. This system does not work. I completely disagree with all forms of government entitlement. However, I do wish that in a perfect world everything would be funded by charity, anything people needed. But I do understand that people sometimes would starve to death if we didn't have these programs. So the way I see things is that very, very bottom 1% of earners, the people who are in real danger of starving, the people who have sold their big television sets and sold their homes, sold their cars, they're down to a bicycle and a very, very basic rickety house or bad apartment, who are about to starve to death. Yes, I do wish to give them food. I do wish to give them rice and beans and wheat and healthy potatoes and stuff and produce just to keep them alive. That's entitlements. I think that's a benefit of being an American. Not people who can go out and buy T-bone steaks and go on a sailing yacht. I'm serious, guys. I did the math. I did the math all the way. I calculated every bit of expense. The free health insurance and it's just crazy. My house payment, the electric bill would be covered. We could be in the Caribbean. Thank you. Thank you. You paid for it. I was going to thank the United States, but government has no money. They took it from you at gunpoint, because if you didn't pay the taxes, you'd have men pointing guns at you. And basically it puts me in a very silly situation, actually, because I could force you at gunpoint to pay for my entire family to sail the Caribbean legally, and there's not a darn thing anyone can do about it. However, as you've seen from my previous videos, there's no way in hell I'd ever do that. I believe in having pride and standing on my own 2 feet and working hard for what I earn. I love the feeling of watching my children have fun off the money I've earned for them. That's what America's about. It's about reaping the benefits of your work. It's not about taking from somebody else at gunpoint for your fun. And this healthcare thing, it gets very tempting when I learn how much money they're going to take from me to say, oh, just screw the whole system. I don't care. I will milk it dry until the whole entitlement system fails. But folks, something's got to change. This just simply isn't right. I'm sure there's people doing this. I have a moral problem with it. I personally can't do something like this, but I guarantee you that other people will. So anyway, it's something to think about. Appreciate your time. Thank you.